Alright, let me tell you a little bit about the history of the butcher and, his ancestor. Alright, you see his ancestor was, one of the first chefs around. Unfortunately, he was the one that, ended up making the forbidden dish, which, he killed his business partner and kind of, cooked them, and then tried to feed it to the goddess of creation and try and get one over on her. Unfortunately, she pretty much found out almost immediately without actually eating it, and she decided to curse him to always rot away and never die. And that, ended up with him, having the ability to basically rot everything that he touches, and also made him like the vestige of death because he was constantly rotting away basically forever. And that, was very bad for the realm of food, you see. Because, that basically spread the Great Rot, and the Great Rot is basically a thing, basically a disease that, kind of rots away the land of the realm of food since everything there is made of food, and if the residents get infected, including the hors d'oeuvres, which are the people of that area, as well as the different creatures there, well, they become zombified and they become like the rotten versions of themselves, yeah. There's not really much of a cure for it. So, the four apostles of eating, who were ancient heroes, kind of, who were the apostles of, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert, kind of rose up and, kind of sealed, the Great Rot and also mold mildew. It was the name of this villain, by the way, away. And using the 6 pure elements of food, which are basically based on food, 6 food groups. Yeah, let's see: vegetable, meat, fruits, dairy, grain, and sweet. Mm. And so basically, he's been there for quite some time. All right, now his ancestor, the butcher, which was descended from mold mildew's kid, the goddess didn't really punish because they had nothing to do with it. Yeah, but unfortunately, the butcher would inherit, a kind of passive trait from his ancestor, which was the true art of cannibalism. Well, it was basically a result of arts corruption, which was basically gluttony based skill that gave that was meant to help him cook stuff, and but he kind of killed his wife in an accident, and kind of killed his wife in an accident after a very heated argument, and then ground her up into meat, and then kind of tasted it to kind of see what it tasted like, and it kind of unlocked that kind of power inside of him. And the butcher decided, hey, I'm gonna serve this to my customers. Only he needed a steady supply of meat, and he kind of got caught by Indamati. And he's been wanting to get at Indamati and also the other members of Dreams ever since, because he believes that, because he found out if he eats superheroes and other superpowered beings in particular, he temporarily gains their abilities. As well as basically the ability of basically anything he eats, really. Hmm. What she kind of wants to do to get more and more powerful, but unfortunately it doesn't really last forever because it will eventually go once a day is done. Or however long his metabolism lasts, which it kind of goes by a little bit quicker than he would like, basically. Mm. So he's been kind of looking to, dig his teeth into superheroes as well as magical beings, basically. And he's also had a big dream of, opening up, cannibalistic restaurants, which he kind of, caused the restaurant wars to kind of, which he calls the restaurant wars, where he, assumed the identity of, an evil clown, and he basically, took over a huge chain restaurant to, turn it into a house of horror, where he was basically running it clean from the front and everything, but he was secretly, snatching off customers, and was very aggressive to his own cooks and basically cooking them. Which got the attention of the killer clowns, who, well, I'll like that. They're a part of another backstory, but the important part is that they really really liked The butcher's meat, because the killer clowns like to eat other people, like to eat other organisms, especially people from other worlds. They're basically a conqueror race of alien evil clowns. Yeah. And so they kind of adopted the butcher, and the butcher kind of uses them as his enforcers to collect stuff for him, so he can kind of cook for them, basically. Oh yeah, and also the Restaurant Wars arc, did awaken his abyss cooking abilities a little bit more that he had, but it kind of made him horrifying and bloody, yeah, because he kind of stole one of the recipes, because he stole a recipe from that restaurant that he took over that had a that had a had a spell scroll, had an ability scroll, and that awakened that kind of power in him. So he's also using that to defeat the clowns as well. But he really needs some superhero mates. And him having a killer clowns at his beck and call is, not good for me, no. That means I'm gonna have to fight clowns, doesn't it? Every superhero's worst nightmare, clowns. I'm sure you can imagine why.